Hi everyone, the title of this video is going to be Mercury in Scorpio Survival Guide. So yesterday on November 18th, Mercury went into Scorpio, which means communication is going to be at an all-time challenge. This means that the shadow energy of unconsciousness and wounded patterns is infusing communication. It's like, so we need some skills. So this is the Mercury in Scorpio Survival Guide. I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. Now I'm going to make this a minute and 30 seconds so it can be a reel on Facebook and Instagram, but I'm also going to have a longer video on YouTube, which I'll post the comments. I'll post the link in the comments. So just check out the comments. And this will be a post also on a pinned post on my Facebook for about a week. And then you can find it, further down the timeline. But I will have that YouTube link on that pinned post on Facebook as well. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is Sarah Adams and Healing. I'm dividing my playlists into, went past the reel mark. Did I? Yes, I did. I'll have to edit this. Anyway, you can, on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be putting my music in one playlist and all of the, the healing and the tools and techniques in another playlist, just so it's easier. Come on up here, Nana. The kitty cat's coming up. All right. So there's quite a few sort of danger zones. Come on up here, Nana. In communication, right? There are certain wound patterns that we all have. And I'm also going to connect you to my housemate, Michael St. John, because he is a really amazing resource when it comes to the things I'm going to be teaching you about. But here I'm just going to bring up some of the major tools that are going to help you when stuff gets triggered, okay? Because Mercury in Scorpio is the trigger zone. It's all the landmine of your unconscious shadow patterning is going to be up in your face all the time right now. It is a huge time. The level of difficulty to navigate relationships has gone up, a lot because of this conjunction. You're stuck. You need to get unstuck. Come here, let me unstick you. I'm trying to unstick the kitty cat's claw. So this is that's actually kind of apropos, right? Our claws are out and they're going to get stuck into things. So it's just like places where we had smooth navigation are going to be like claws stuck in a couch. One after the other. And our partners and our close friends are going to be the one that activate those things because they're the ones that we spend our time with. Okay, it's kind of a long intro, but I'm going to go ahead and get into the meat of the techniques here. Okay. First, you have to understand the different possible wounds. To me, learning this, there are pretty much two possible wounds. One is what's called a hole. And a hole gets created by a biographical trauma. Okay? And so this can be a trauma that occurs from the time you're out of the womb, excuse me, into your present life right now, or it can be a developmental event, which is also technically a biographical trauma. And so that happens in the womb. I just poked myself. The hole is like poking yourself, You have a traumatic moment and it gets stuck. And it's not going to fill itself. You have to go back and fill that hole. So how do you do that? How do you fill a hole? Well, it's helpful to know where the hole is in your body, where it's located. I'm not really good at detecting that. My housemate is very good at detecting that. But even if you don't know exactly where it is in your body, you can identify the emotions. Now, almost all holes have 4 or 5 emotions. And a lot of times they're going to have adjectives with the emotion, like horrifying anguish, terrifying loss, impending doom, dread, vulnerability, helplessness, whatever it is, right? There's going to be a flavor of what happened to you in that hole. What was the experience? And so when a hole gets hit, the feelings are going to start coming up. So get a paper or get your phone and identify the flavor of the trauma, right? Lots of times the trauma is going to be triggered by your partner or by a situation in life. But you're going to get a piece of paper and you're going to write down, what are those core traumas? What does it feel like? Like, what's the identity of this trauma when it hit? And that's how you fill the hole. Okay. So that's the first kind, biographical traumas. And you're going to tap on your 9 gamut point. Now, this is an EFT point. It's interesting because EFT has tons of points, but the main point that really triggers the healing process is the 9 gamut. So let's talk about the 9 gamut. It's called the 9 gamut point because it hits on 9 gamuts in your meridian system where emotions are held, right? So between your pinky and your ring finger on top of the hand, right about here in this groove, this little groove up here on the knuckles. I usually do 3 fingers, so I make sure and get the 9 gamut point, right? You can do it on either hand, and you don't have to tap hard. You can tap very lightly, and it will still trigger the flow of healing. Isn't that amazing? The 9 gamut point is a miraculous point. Even if you do nothing but tap lightly and feel what's coming up, it will give you a lot of relief, okay? Once you get past like the 50% marker of that trauma load in the hole, you're going to feel so much relief. It's amazing, right? It's just amazing. You want to take it to 100% healed. And then you want to take it to what's called stability. Knowing when you're actually at stability is tricky. Basically, you're going to go over all those emotions and there'll be no charge. Nothing. Like, it's literally gone. Every echo of it is gone. That can take a long time. And triggers can come up when you're busy and doing stuff. So you're really probably going to take yourself to the 60% point, and then you'll feel so much better. But you might have to revisit it until you get to where there's no charge. But it'll bring you a lot of relief in the moment to take it past that 60% mark. All right, so that's the first type of trauma, the hole, which is biographical, okay? All right, the second type of trauma is a generational trauma. Now, generational traumas, okay, there's 3 things I'm going to show you. 3 things. So generational traumas are just like they sound. There's something in your generation, in your lineage, right? That is triggering a trauma. And you have to go, so you have your egg side and your sperm side. Most people's egg side is on the left side of the body, and most people's sperm side is on the right side. Some people are kind of reversed. So you kind of have to check, where is my egg side? Is it my left side? Is it my right side? So all generational traumas are going to come down through either our mother's father, right? The paternal influence on the egg, or our mother's mother, the maternal influence on the egg, or our mother's father. No, our father's mother, which is the maternal influence on the sperm, or our father's father, which is the paternal influence on the sperm. Okay, so those are generational traumas. Now, when you have a generational trauma, just like the whole, you have to identify the emotional content. That's what's going to help you. Some generational traumas come with soul loss, which means that the trauma was so severe it caused the cytoplasm in the primary cell to retract from itself, and part of your soul got lost in that severing of the cytoplasm. So those are more intense. Those are more painful when they come with soul loss. And my housemate, Michael, he teaches people how to identify those, like soul loss feels like a scoop with a hard ball in it. The hard ball is the generational trauma, right? And the scoop is the soul loss. I still can't identify that. It takes a lot of sort of skills of deep kinesthetic feeling. But even if you can't feel it, you can just ask yourself, is this a whole or is this a generational? And really just feel into that. And sometimes you might get it wrong. And Michael can help you with that. I keep talking about Michael because he helps me with so much. It's incredible. Such a game changer having him in my life. So I recommend him highly if you're moving through some really deep traumas, because he is so helpful. Okay, now, generational traumas. So now I'm going to teach you the positioning of generational traumas, like how it works. If your higher self and your intuition tells you, okay, this is mother's mother and father's mother, so it's on the grandmothers, then it helps to lean into certain positions. I have no idea why this works, but it helps identify those lines in the egg and in the sperm. So on the egg side, the mother's mother is a lean directly to the left, right? Kind of just leaning there, tapping on 9 gamete, identify the emotions, and feel, right? And you can say, I allow and accept all of this with love. Back to the first ancestor, back to the originating moment. Sally, my mom's mom was Sally, and you say the name. Sally, let's do this. Sometimes I imagine pulling a rope with all the generations on that rope and feeling those feelings as I'm tapping. And then feeling the unconditional love of my heart flowing out through my whole body until that feeling abates, right? So then you finish your mother's mother. But now you got to do your father's mother. Father's mother is leaning back to the right. Do the same thing, same emotions, bring it up, tap it out. Now, if you have what's called guarding traumas, and this goes for a whole as well, if you have guarding traumas, you have to go to the back of your hand, karate chop point, and you have to say, even though I'm afraid, if I really feel this, I could hurt or harm myself or even die, I totally and completely love and accept myself. Now, right here, right now. And you're going to say that over and over until you feel yourself willing to feel the feelings, right? And then you go, I allow and accept all of this with love. Now, then you're back to the clearing point. So you might go back and forth. You might hit guarding traumas and you go, nothing's moving. You go back here again to the even though I'm afraid I could hurt or harm myself or even die, if I really feel this, I totally and completely love and accept myself. Yeah? And then back to the release point. Things are flowing. It's pouring out. When you're on the release point, you're ready. You're feeling it. Some traumas you're going to feel more kind of at the etheric level, like energy. You can feel the pain in the energy. Some traumas you're going to feel viscerally. You're going to be crying. You're going to be moaning. Some traumas are like moaning agony. And the only way you're going to heal that is to let yourself moan. You can't do moaning agony without moaning. If it's very much on the energetic level, you can. You can kind of envision the moaning energetically. Okay. It's a lot of information, yeah. But so let's go back to where the positioning is of those ancestors. That's going to help you access them. Mother's mother is directly to the left. You're on the egg side. Now I'm going to mirror this video so it looks like I'm leaning to the left. But this is leaning to the left. Yeah? Mother's mother. You don't have to lean way over. You'll get a sore back or a sore neck. So just imagine you're kind of leaning to the left. All right. Now, leaning left, but leaning back to the left, kind of like this. That's your mother's father. Okay? So it's like a U shape. You start out mother's mother, and then you go back to mother's father, straight back. Now you're going to cross over to the sperm. Father's mother, you're leaning back to the right. And then you're going to go father's father, you're leaning straight to the right. So it's really like a U, right? Those generational traumas. They're either on the plane of the back or the plane of the front, right? And so it's like mother's mother, mother's father, father's mother, father's father. Okay? Tilting directly to the side is father's father, mother's mother, right? Mother's father and father's mother are in the back. It's a lot. I'm kind of giving you a lot. My housemate teaches a workshop which really takes time to go into each of these things and how we clear them. So again, I'm going to tag him in this post. I'll just say his name. His name is Michael St. John. You can look him up here in my friends list, or you can message me and I'll connect you to him. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. So we've got these two traumas, the hole, which is actually like a hole in your body. It's a place where the energy doesn't flow. It's just like a suck point, right? And then you got the generational traumas, and that's like that hard, round thing that's lodged in you somewhere. And then the soul loss is like a scoop with a hard, round thing in it, because soul losses are always coming with generational traumas. For some reason, that's how it works. Okay, so, but some generational traumas don't have soul loss, right? But any soul loss comes from a generational. Kind of tricky. Okay, so we've got holes and generational traumas. Now, there's another thing called body associations. And this is one of the biggest pains in trying to heal, is the body brain. The body brain is the one that creates the pain body, really. I mean, it's the one that throws all kinds of monkey wrenches in the healing process. The other brains don't seem to be, they don't succumb to this like the body brain does. Let's just touch our body brain, right? It's right down here. It's in the lower belly, down into the womb area, down through the sexual chakras, into the root. That's the body brain, right? It's a survival brain. Now, what happens with survival is pesky emotions get paired with survival. Very negative emotions get paired with survival. So the body brain, the rest of you can be like, I want to be happy. I want to be free from panic. And that's your total intention, is to rise above misery and panic and depression, right? And suicidal ideation, whatever it is, you want to rise above that. But the body brain has experiences where survival was paired with really negative emotions. For example, say in the womb, you were in a dire state. Your mother was maybe she fell down, right? And all of a sudden the umbilical cord like lost some connection and you weren't getting nourishment and your whole development kind of went to hell in that moment. Now, if the minute your mom recovers, she happens to be flooded with misery or terror, the body brain is going to pair survival with terror. So it's going to go, I have to have this terror to survive. Literally, it's going to pull it towards itself, right? If a state of misery was coming from your mother in the moment when she recovered from the trauma, again, misery now is going to be your blanket, your security blanket. And when you get into the darker stuff, which I'm not going to really dwell on this, but take satanic ritual abuse, right? Take sexual abuse when someone is really being violated. And say if they're being violated by someone who is like a family member that they feel security with, or the way the advanced Satanists, what they're trying to do is they're trying to pair pain body with survival. Like, you have to have this to survive, because that guarantees that you'll be stuck in those really negative emotions, which is what the Satanists feed off of. I mean, this is kind of dark. Oh, I'm not going to dwell here. But so what do? How do we unpair ourselves from these very negative states of being? Well, that's when we have to clear what's called body associations. So we have body associations on the sperm side and on the egg side. On the egg side and on the sperm side. So again, Michael specializes in identifying these things, knowing when they're cleared, helping you clear. That's the thing. He's going to help teach you how to identify your own traumas and then how to know when they're cleared, right? So here's what your clear body associations. It's the same 9 gamut point, but you're going to hold your hand, and if you can feel the substance when you call it up, okay, here's body associations with sugar. Say you want to stop your sugar cravings. You're going to want body associations with sugar, right? All these positive things. Sugar is my mother. Sugar is my lover. Sugar is what lifts me out of whatever. That's a body-brain pairing of a positive emotion. So you have body-brain pairings to positive emotions and body-brain pairings to negative emotions, right? And you can have body-brain pairings that say, I can't live. If I don't have misery, I will die, right? And then you can have body brains, will say, I have to have misery to survive. But you can see it's both. It's attachment, right? And repellence to the absence. So we do the presence and the absence when we do body associations. The presence and the absence of this thing. We do the egg hand and we just tap. We tap until we can sense. When you have a body association, it's like a crumpled piece of paper. It's like a crumple. It's hard to explain. I can't sense it very well. Again, Michael's an expert at this. So I go into Michael and he helps me, with a lot of these things. But when he's not available, I do it myself, right? This is a self-healing. These are self-healing techniques that you can do. Okay, so then you've got your sperm hand. So you tap it out until you feel like, okay, that misery, I need misery to survive. And you feel into it. It's like, okay, it's 20% left on the sperm hand. You just kind of have to guess. Okay, so those, of course, unless you work with Michael, you don't have to guess. He can see every percentage clearing. It's amazing. And people who have, so this is all inside of the umbrella of peak states work. You can check out precellular psychobiology. It's called, you can go to peakstates.com, I think it's, or peakstates.org, and kind of learn more about this. You can also get trained as a practitioner. But there's a lot of things that you can do on your own, right? That will really help you with your relationship with yourself, to life, and your interpersonal relationships. So, as your Mercury in Scorpio survival guide, that's about all you need to know. Let me stop and think. Is there anything else? Aha. Let's talk about e-holes. E-holes are a special kind of curse in relationship. Okay? And my husband and I, beginning to work with couples, when we learned about e-holes, we knew, oh, that's the first order of business that has to be cleared before you do any negotiation, any relationship counseling and getting into it. You've got to know if these two people have e-holes. Because e-holes are parallel generational traumas. Okay, we talked about generational traumas. If two people have parallel generational traumas, and the E stands for evil, which means it's like contempt, hatred, raging resentment, malice, hatred. It's these big, nasty feelings in the ancestor. So say my partner Frank, say his mother's father has a generational trauma, has a trauma, right, that's creating what's called an e-hole. And an e-cord comes with the e-hole. If two people have the same resonating e-holes, they cord. And they're like positive feedback loop of hatred, contempt, misery. It's very unpleasant. You know how they say, the expression, going to hell in a handbasket? Well, the handbasket is the e-hole. And if you each have threads for that basket is going to build itself and take you to hell with you in it. So you really want to find those e-holes. Like, okay, we've got an e-hole. And usually if you're sailing along and at peace with your partner, and then all of a sudden you feel victimized, hated, that you feel like they don't care about you, or you feel like you hate them, or you feel this just rage at them coming out of nowhere. E-hole. That's an e-hole. And the antichristed energies love e-holes. They latch onto them and magnify them. So the first thing you want to do when you're in a couple or just in a friendship and some strange trigger happens that makes you feel like that person is your enemy, that's an e-hole. So for us, Michael will just identify them. We start to have a conflict and I go, Michael. And if he's not busy, he'll sit us down and go, e-hole. And he'll find it, and then he'll help us. What are the emotions in it? And then we tap it out. It's amazing. Only one of you has to clear it in a relationship, because if one of you clears it, it's gone. The positive feedback loop is gone. But it's good for both of you to clear it, because it's a trauma, for one, and it could hook up with anybody else's resonance. So it'll curse you in relationships. So you want to get those e-holes gone. They also create physical problems. Like I've had a lot of problems with my mouth and my gums, and I've had tons of e-holes in my upper jaw, especially. A lot of rage, a lot of really horrendous hatred. It can get right in the jaw. It's kind of interesting. So I think those are the key pits that you're going to hit as we're in Mercury Scorpio, right? Like this is a walking active enema. The whole purpose of Mercury and Scorpio is clearing out the trauma. So if you can see your life as helping you to illuminate trauma, that's this passage we're going through. So it's not going to be necessarily pleasant a lot of times. But if you realize, okay, the object to the game here in this terrain of Mercury and Scorpio is making me aware of the holes, biographical traumas, developmental traumas. Those are the holes. And the generational traumas. Those are the generationals, right? Some of them have soul loss. So then we can see that that's one of the main things that's going to be happening right now is the triggering of the shadow. The triggering of the shadow is going to become more and more what we're going to see happening. You know, we're going to have to continue on with life, obviously, but it's like shadow clearing parties. Like we're going to like start having shadow clearing parties because stuff is just going to be up. Like me and my best friends right now, it's like we're just this healing team, constantly helping each other move through these big things. And sometimes, especially in my marriage, these identifier moments when the e-holes get discovered are very unpleasant, right? And but we have to just keep knowing the object of the game. Heal the trauma, and the love will flow. Heal the trauma, and the love will flow again. And then ultimately, we come into a frequency of unconditional love that is beyond all the holes and the generationals, beyond identification with them. And then healing becomes spontaneous. Like it becomes where we're just like cruising on the water and we hit like a shark or a sharp piece of coral, and immediately our light body dissolves that back into love, and it's spontaneous. So that's what we're headed towards. You know, those who are on the ascending timeline. Now, there are some groups of beings on the planet that are not on the ascending timeline. They're not headed for that. But anybody who watches my videos, anybody who's in my life, anybody, you know, most of us that are bonded together right now are on the ascending timeline. So this is for us. This is our skill set. All right. So, just wishing everyone so much love. My husband and I had a lot of painful e-hole come up last night, and I thought, you know, I'm going to make this video. So this was long. It's about, like, we're at almost the 34-minute mark. I'm going to pick out certain portions of this and probably just have it as a resource, as a short on YouTube, because I'll post all the shorts under the main video, I think. I'm not sure how I'll do it, but you can look up in my shorts, right? That sounds kinky. Go look in my shorts. Okay, let's change the look in my short videos on YouTube. God. All right. I am going to quit while I'm behind, and sending so much love to everyone as we navigate this terrain. Landmines everywhere. So we learn how to identify the traumas, we learn how to heal them, and we keep the love flowing. All right. So much love. Bye-bye.